everyone, this is Aljuburi. I'll be presenting a paper on the influence of organizational climate dimensions on school performance, a study of the UAE K-12 private school managers. Starting with the background of the study really looks at a very important aspect in the UAE national agenda, which is becoming a first-rate educational system. This is due to the ambitious goals of the UAE to embark on an economic diversification journey in reducing the dependence on the hydrocarbon industry and moving into a strong knowledge-based economy that will be built on a strong educational infrastructure leading the future generations. From there, we can see that the objectives of this research will basically examine the impact of organizational climate and its dimensions on the UAE K-12 school performance, investigating the level of awareness of the school managers in private schools of the organizational climate in their schools and their dimensions. It will determine the relationship between school organizational climate in the UAE and the effect of it on school performance. It will check the impact of school organizational climate dimensions on enhancing school performance, and it will identify the factors that can be predictors of school organizational climate that contribute mostly to enhancing the school's performance in the UAE context. Therefore, we can see that going through the existing literature and going through other studies, that this study will explore the different dimensions that have been adapted in terms of school organizational climate, taken from Davis and Jeswani 2012 and adapted by Lassisi's 2016, that focus on the dimensions of orientation, communication, supervision, decision-making, reward management as the dimensions of school organizational climate that will have an effect on school performance. So the hypothesis of the study will basically focus on trying to prove that there is a significant relationship between school organizational climate and the UAE K-12 private school performance. School organizational climate is a significant predictor of the UAE K-12 private school performance. Moving from there, the methodology of the study, looking at the population and the sample, was basically tackled and considered school managers that are in a decision-making position in the UAE educational context from Abu Dhabi and Dubai province. They included 294 school managers presenting 49 different schools of different curricula in the UAE public school sector. The instrument was adapted from Jeswani and Davis, as mentioned, and Lassisi 2016. The instrument had 30 different items and were based around, built around the different dimensions mentioned earlier in this presentation. Data collection was done through the questionnaire that was based on a 5-point Likert scale, with 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. Cross-sectional approach was used in the data collection. For school performance, it relied on the secondary source of the data, taking the reports from the UAE Educational Inspectorate's proven official websites. Therefore, we can see that the statistical analysis that was done in this research paper were basically done by checking the internal consistency and reliability of the constructs using SPSS version 25, and it did prove that there was internal consistency of all the dimensions as it was in a valid range. Inferential statistical techniques were used to examine the study hypotheses through the regression and the Pearson correlation analysis. Also, it was used to test the descriptive results, such as the mean score and the standard deviation involved in the variables of this study. Moving to the findings and the analysis of the study, looking at the demographics of the respondents of the study, we can see that the school managers did fall mostly in the range of 41 to 45 years old. Mostly the respondents were from a British curricula schools, followed by American schools. They were mostly master degree holders and followed by bachelor degree holders and PhD holders. Most of the participants were subject leaders and head of departments, followed by school principals. Females contributed more to the study than the males, and the Dubai leaders were more respondent to the survey than the Abu Dhabi leaders. Looking at the level of awareness of the school managers in the UAE educational context of the study, we can see that using the descriptive statistical analysis, using the mean values and standard deviation, that the school leaders are on a moderate level with a mean score of 3.73 in their awareness and understanding of organizational climate, school organizational climate and its dimensions. The same applies for each of the different dimensions of school organizational climate, where it has been seen that the school leaders are on a moderate level of awareness of the school organizational climate and its dimensions. Moving from that, we can see that the study also revealed in its findings that they're using the correlations, that there is a significant positive relationship between school climate and school performance. Also, there is significant positive relationships between the different dimensions of organizational climate and school performance. It also, we can also conclude that communication and supervision are the highest among the different domains in its effect on school performance and enhancing it. Although significant, but still, we can see that decision-making was at a lowest rate of its influence towards school performance and in its relationship with the other components of organizational climate. Therefore, we can conclude that there is a moderate relationship between overall organizational climate and school performance. Looking at the relationship between the impact of the organizational climate on the school performance, we can see that in general, organizational climate has explained 16% of the variance in school performance. In addition to that, it can be concluded from the data in hand that organizational climate significantly predicts the school performance at a beta rate of 0.66. Therefore, the conclusion is that organizational climate is an antecedent of the performance in the UAE educational context of private school, K-12 private schools. Moving back to considering the general multiple regression analysis of the study and its results, it can be seen that organizational climate significantly explains 29.9% of the variance of school performance through the different 5 dimensions of organizational climate. And from the data, it is also evident that only communication and supervision among the 5 dimensions have a significant impact to predict school performance. Unfortunately, decision-making, orientation, and reward management are proven to be insignificant in predicting school performance in this study. Therefore, we can see that the hypotheses have been significantly proven and supported. There is a significant correlation between the school organizational climate in the UAE K-12 school performance, in addition to also proving that school organizational climate is a significant predictor of the UAE K-12 private school performance. From there, we can consider the discussion of the study, which looks at the descriptive analysis that proved that organizational climate is understood and is on a moderate level of awareness among the UAE leaders with its dimensions. Also, there is a positive, significant correlation between the overall school organizational climate and school performance. This comes in alignment with other studies that found similar results. Also, the dimensions used in this study also indicate that they are effective and they are also correlated with one another and are significant in predicting school organizational climate. School organizational climate in this study did prove to be a predictor of school performance, and this comes in alignment with other researchers targeting the same aspect. The determinants of school organizational climate towards school performance were proven to be basically communication and supervision that are the dominant determinants of the school organization and climate, where the others did not seem to be that significant. Moving from the discussion, we can conclude in this research study that the different dimensions of organizational climate are helpful in measuring the level of awareness of the managers among the K-12 private school leaders. Also, organizational climate and its dimension does have a positive, significant correlation with school performance. The dimensions of school organizational climate do prove to be predictors of school management, school performance, and basically, and in particular, communication and supervision were the significant factors. Also, organizational climate has proven to be a significant predictor of school performance in this study. The study did have limitations where it did consider only private schools in the UAE educational sector, and also it considered one dimension, which was school organizational climate. This opens the range for future recommendations for future researchers to explore other dimensions and their effect on school performance, especially in the UAE educational context, such as quality assurance initiatives, strategic leadership practices, and teacher organizational commitment, for example. Also, it would be recommended that researchers also consider looking at public schools and using samples public schools as a sample to investigate whether the findings will be consistent or there will be a variance. From that, we can find that the contribution of the study basically tackles adding value to the growing body of knowledge of predicting, finding the different predictors of enhancing school performance. And it also is an eye-opener for the UAE educational system, in particular the policymakers in the educational sector and the educational inspectorates in considering school organizational climate for school improvement. School leaders can also use the organizational climate findings and the measurement that was used in this study to enhance their school performance. The list of references have been added for any scholar that would like to go for further extension, further reading, sorry. Thank you for listening, and I hope that this presentation did provide you with the required information. I am open for questions, and thank you for listening once again.